The world is very different now. Some things never change. The world is very different now. It's ready for change. And help the ones who can't help themselves, left alone with no one else. The situations some kids is forced in, the unheard cries of a homeless orphan. Now help the ones who can't help themselves, left alone with no one else. The situations some kids is forced in, the unheard cries of a homeless orphan. Missing child on the sidewalk, lost and treated and enchanted. Who dared to question God's purpose while the seeds was planted? Precious miracle of birth foolishly took for granted, like the dope that riddled the body till the eyes were slanted. From the eyes of a child viewing this world so pure, to the starving ass kids receiving nothing at all. Comfort the fearful of the homeless infants injured in war, greeting the frontier of evil babies innocent door. Help the children turned away from motherly rib, father figure captured off of one option to live. Become survival of the fittest, had to scramble to eat, had to beg, still a hustle, parented by the streets, with no clothes on their back or no shoes on their feet, under malnourished and diseased and helplessly weak, with no shelter overhead or water in the well. Heavenly heart seeking joy, place a portion in hell. To help the ones who can't help themselves, left alone with no one else. The situation some kids is forced in, the unheard cries of a homeless orphan. Now help the ones who can't help themselves, left alone with no one else. The situation some kids is forced in, the unheard cries of a homeless orphan. There's no honor in seeing hungry kids scurry for litter, where the days is hot and dry, nights is desperately bitter. Lost and found, hand-me-down clothes that barely fit her. Can't turn my back on the needy, God don't like no quitters. Be thankful that you wasn't placed in that position where bombs destroy your home, deafened by ammunition. Is there hope for anybody really out there listening? Feel the hearts of the abandoned for the loved ones missing. Wishing that the world was different, but it's never gonna change. Left alone with no parents in the streets feeling strange. Don't wanna end up like the tramps out there begging for money, in a sad situation, sick, broke, smelling bummy, with no home and no future, the outcome's bleak. Never knowing where to cop your next piece of food to eat. A lot of hungry children out there can't read or spell. Heavenly heart seeking joy, placing force in the hell. So help the ones who can't help themselves, left alone with no one else. The situation some kids is forced in, the unheard cries of a homeless orphan. Now help the ones who can't help themselves, left alone with no one else. The situation some kids is forced in, the unheard cries of a homeless orphan. I'm fully grown now, and I still go through it, surviving life's impossibilities. How do I do it? Even thought to take my own life, praying God to renew it. See, suicide is painful for those who pursue it. Plus the sin is far greater than I'm already living. Most of my real street role models either dead or in prison. For all the men who do evil, they should be glad Jesus risen. God rescues every soul when a child goes missing. When my girl threw me out, it put me back to square one, feeling the same way again when I was all so young. See, God blesses those youths that keep their own place. When I gave up my crib, I held my head in disgrace. See, a taste of the problems brought back the homeless spell, where the rest river away and don't live to share to tell. Selassie brought me heritage so I could spit well. Heavenly heart seeking joy, placing force in the hell. So help the ones who can't help themselves, left alone with no one else. The situation some kids is forced in, the unheard cries of a homeless orphan. To help the ones who can't help themselves, left alone with no one else. The situation
some can't make it by themselves.
The unheard cries of a homeless orphan.